Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are mapping out the definitive guide for one of the most exciting careers in tech, the AI engineer. If you're looking for a clear, actionable roadmap for 2025, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's dive in.
So, why all the buzz about this role? Well, let's just start with a number that's probably going to get your attention. $206,000. Yep, according to recent data, that is the average salary for an AI engineer in the United States. This isn't just another job. It's a seriously high-value, high-impact career.
And the opportunity here is just exploding. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is projecting that jobs in the space are going to grow by 32% by 2032. I mean, that makes it one of the fastest growing fields in the entire world. It just goes to show you the incredible demand for talent that can build the future.
So that brings us to our first major stop, really understanding the massive scale of this AI engineer boom. Because this isn't just some passing trend, it's a fundamental shift in how businesses are working. You know, for the longest time, AI was kind of stuck in research labs and universities. But today, it's literally everywhere. It's powering the recommendation engine for the next movie you watch, it's the voice assistant in your house, and it's even behind cutting-edge medical diagnostics. Companies are pouring billions into this, creating a huge need for engineers who can build and maintain these complex systems.
Okay, so we know the demand is off the charts, but before we start plotting out our journey, we need to know the destination. What exactly does an AI engineer even do?
At its very core, this role is all about bridging that gap between a brilliant idea and a product that actually works. See, an AI engineer doesn't just get the theory behind a model. They have the real-world software engineering chops to build it into a reliable, scalable application that people can actually use. And this is a really important distinction because people confuse AI engineers with data scientists all the time, but their focus is pretty different. A data scientist is more about exploring the data, testing out ideas, and building that initial model. The AI engineer is the one who then takes that model and gets it ready for production.
So what does that mean for their day-to-day? Well, their job is this really cool blend of different disciplines. They're part coder, part systems architect, and even part strategist. They're managing the data that feeds the models, they're deploying them to the cloud, and they're working with everybody from data scientists to the C-suite to make sure the AI is solving a real business problem. All right, now for the map itself. We've boiled down this entire journey into a clear step-by-step path to help you get the skills you're going to need. We've broken this whole journey down into 3 big phases. First, you build the foundation, then you master the core AI concepts, and finally, you learn to engineer for the real world. So let's take a look at each one.
Look, you can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation, right? Phase 1 is all about getting those fundamentals rock solid. And we're talking about not just knowing Python, but truly mastering it. It means actually understanding the math that makes these algorithms tick, linear algebra, stats, calculus. And it means using professional software tools like Git right from day one. And just how critical is Python? Well, an analysis of over 900 job postings found that 71% of them require it. It is the undisputed king of AI. But check this out, Java and SQL are also on the list. And what that tells you is that AI engineers often have to work inside big company systems, and they need to be experts at managing and getting data. Okay, once that foundation is solid, now you get to dive into the heart of AI, the really cool stuff. This is where you learn the actual algorithms. You'll master machine learning basics like regression, and then you'll move into deep learning, understanding the power of neural networks, things like CNNs, which are amazing for images, and transformers, the architecture behind models like ChatGPT. And this is where you get your hands on powerful frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow that do all the heavy lifting for you.
This final phase, this is what separates a true AI engineer from a hobbyist. This is all about production. You'll learn MLOps, that's machine learning operations, to manage a model's lifecycle. You'll use tools like Docker and Kubernetes to package up and scale your apps, and you'll get really good at deploying on the major cloud platforms. This is how you make sure your AI doesn't just work on your laptop, it works for millions of users.
A map is completely useless if you don't actually, take the journey. Theory is one thing, but employers need to see what you can actually build, and that's where your portfolio comes in.
And here's exactly why that portfolio is non-negotiable. Get this. Research shows that a tiny fraction of AI jobs, just 2.5%, are truly entry-level. The market is competitive. A portfolio packed with strong projects is the single best way to prove you have the skills and can deliver value from day one. So what should you build? Look,
Don't just follow along with tutorials. Solve a real problem. Build an AI that can parse resumes or a system that can spot fake news. Create an app that can predict an animal species from a picture. Every one of these projects shows off a specific, valuable skill, from natural language processing to computer vision.
Okay, so you follow the map, you've built your projects. What's the job actually like? Let's pull back the curtain on the day-to-day reality of being an AI engineer.
So if you just read the job descriptions, man, they sound incredibly glamorous. You'll be advising executives on AI strategy, leading teams, architecting these groundbreaking solutions. And, while that can be part of the job, especially for senior roles, it's definitely not the whole story.
So here's a little reality check. As one engineer on Reddit just put it so perfectly, a huge part of the job is just dealing with data. Your AI models are only ever as good as the data you train them on, and real-world data is almost always messy, incomplete, and just inconsistent.
So a more realistic day in the life involves a lot of hands-on, careful work. You'll be building pipelines to pull data from a dozen different places, writing scripts to clean it all up, and sometimes even manually labeling data. Now, this isn't grunt work. This is the absolute foundation of high-performing AI. And after all that, it's a cycle of training, evaluating, and improving your models, all while trying to read the latest research to stay ahead of the curve.
But what about the barrier to entry? Do you really need a PhD to get in? Well, this is where the data gets really interesting. And it's actually great news. While a PhD is the most common path at 28%, just look at the rest of the chart. It's surprisingly even across the board. The big takeaway here is that your skills and your portfolio can be just as powerful as an advanced degree.
And that brings us to the end of our roadmap. We've seen the incredible demand, we've defined the role, and we've laid out a clear three-phase path from foundation to production. The tools have never been more accessible, and the need for creative problem solvers has never been greater. You have the map, so the only question left is, where are you going to take it? What problem will you be the one to solve?